when it comes to government, Tinubu government, APC government in general, they are known for violating laws. They are known for law violations. They never kept to their promises. They know how to make promises, but they will never fulfill any of those promises. Now, another problem is coming. ASUU proposing nationwide strike protest. It's just around the corner. The main labor union are there. ASUU want to join them. This is 1 year, after 1 year in office. So, labor union, ASUU have been preparing for strike, nationwide protest, because Tinubu refuses to keep the promises made to them every sector. Now, before we continue, listen to this first.
Government seems to be the most tone-deaf government we've had in recent times because of all the things Nigeria in its current state needs to spend money on. If a serious government has taken a look at the current state of affairs and truly is keen on working on a better life for its citizens, if that government, for example, put together a 100-item list, I'm sure that a serious government wouldn't find space to put 21 billion naira for the vice president's residence on that list. Just imagine. Put together a list of the top 50 things that Nigeria needs currently, urgently. I'm sure that there wouldn't be any space if we had a serious government to put 21 billion naira in for the vice president's residence. But the government in Nigeria today continues to show Nigerians very clearly that its priority isn't the Nigerian people. This, ladies and gentlemen, is renewed hope. There's no way in logical terms that this project can be defended by any person, but with renewed hope, they don't even bother to give you a good explanation for why this is. What they've simply said is, and of course I'm going to be quoting the Vice President and the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. He says, this project was awarded in 2010, 14 years ago, and was abandoned in 2014. It was in January this year, in 2024, that we had to review the project to 21 billion naira from 7 billion naira, and that means an additional 14 billion naira. He goes on to say, for our vice president's residence to take 14 good years, and then Mr. President within a year made it a reality. This is what is called renewed hope. Now, it goes on to say that President Tinubu explained that the provision of a suitable residence for the vice president is not merely a matter of convenience, but also a symbol of respect for the office and the individual who occupies it. Again, this is what we see as renewed hope. And the thing here is, the Honorable Minister of the FCT sees this as something that Nigerians should applaud them for completing an unfinished project. He's proud of it. He's excited to tell you that they've finished this project in 1 year. But this is the same government that told Nigerians to tighten their belts, and the same Nigerians have had to make completely insane sacrifices just to survive current realities. The same government does the complete opposite, has no thought in itself to hold back when it's time to spend billions and billions of naira. In what way in any universe is spending 21 billion naira on the vice president's residence beneficial to the Nigerian people? Why does Nigeria need that residence currently? And calling this a waste of money, of course, calling the whole project a waste of money, goes to show Nigerians exactly what this government has in its renewed hope agenda. More and more waste of the country's resources. Now, not only is the renewed hope wasteful in mind-blowing proportions, it is also very proud and loud when they waste Nigeria's money. It's only in Nigeria that you see the president or vice president and other top government officials leave the official duties to go and cut ribbon at the opening of a house. You wouldn't see this anywhere else in the world, and it shows clearly that these people are not busy. They have their priorities very, very twisted. One would expect that when such an expense is brought to the National Assembly or Mr. President's table, they will look at it and say, no, not right now, because Nigeria needs every available penny to be redirected into healthcare and education, security, and other more important issues. That's what you would expect in a country that knows that it doesn't have money to waste. But Nigeria has money to waste. The Nigerian government has money to waste. The renewed hope agenda has billions of naira to waste. Don't be fooled. And so it is in my view that we need to stop trying to remind the presidency about the sufferings of Nigerians. Stop this whole talk about, oh, Mr. President needs to be made aware that Nigerians are going through a lot. Because don't be deceived. It's not that they are not aware. They just have other things that they are focused on in the interim.
Now to education matters now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities has threatened another nationwide strike to protest the absence of governing councils in all federal universities, among other issues the federal government is yet to address. ASUU President Professor Emmanuel Osedeke issued the threat at an ongoing press conference at the union's National Secretariat in Abuja. The body, which said the federal government dissolved the governing councils of the universities in May last year, has asked Nigerians to hold the government responsible for any decision it takes to protest the action of government. Now, to further discuss this, I'm joined by Dr. Kelechi Nwogu, an educator. Good morning and welcome. Good to have you here. So, good question to ask you to start
same
this.
here.
Yes. Now, how does the absence of the governing council in federal universities really impact the overall quality of education and the academic activities as well? And what long-term consequences could this have on the Nigerian education system?
Running a university without a governing council is almost like raising a child without proper parenting. The governing councils of the universities should be an intermediary framework between the universities and the government of the day, where they act like they are neutral, but then they work to bring on the real values and vision of governance down to the grassroots in terms of education. So they have direct interaction with the universities of concern, and then they bring reports to the federal government on the day-to-day runnings of the universities, the challenges and all that. So when you set up a university without a governing council, it seems as though you're purposely blocking your ears to the realities and the concerns of these universities. And for the most part, it's not a very interesting idea. Okay, because how then do you get reports? You otherwise would get indirect reports through news blogs and gossip blogs and all that, and it's not appropriate. Okay, you really don't bear down on the concerns of the university, the day-to-day concerns of the university, and there isn't proper interaction, and there can't be appropriate development as you desire.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Kechi, I hear what you're saying now. However, ASUU has done what ASUU has always done, which is to, well, with a threat, go to the media. But what alternative strategies could ASUU employ to exert the pressure that they need for the federal government to address their concerns? And what are the potential backdoor drawbacks of another nationwide strike for students and lecturers and, in general, the education sector?
Okay, it's a sad one, because the reason why ASUU tends to the media or otherwise threatens strike action is because we don't have a listening government. I mean, this is not peculiar to any particular government. We're talking about 2009 agreements. 2009 was how many years ago? And the government of about 15 years ago. And it's sad to note that over 15 years, exchange rates have more than multiplied, right? And then there have been no responses. There have been promises, failed promises. It shows a high sense of irresponsibility on the part of the government. I mean, you set up these universities to function and to run, benchmarked with global standards. And now there's no monitoring system, there's no responsive system. Okay, so you just make promises, empty promises, and then it comes to educating the populace. Then you send them abroad, you send your own children abroad, and let the children of the masses suffer in these universities. And so how do you measure standards? How do you assess the performances of the universities? And then how do you expect the children to compete with children in other climes? So it's unfortunate, but ASUU is left with no other option than to reach out to you. Probably before this stage, a lot of letters would have been written, a lot of lobbying would have been done just to get a face with the sponsor, get a face with the government. But the government doesn't seem to be granting that access. And so the media seems to be the only channel through which they can say, okay, government, you have to hear us. So they have to condition the government to listening to their plight, hearing their cries, and doing something. And then over time, 15 years, okay, yes, there have been interactions, but all the interactions have just gone to waste because the government has not responded as they should. There are end allowances, there are sponsorship grants, also research grants and all that, and the government says we will do this, and government in, government out, government doesn't do what they ought to do or what they promised to do. And what do you expect? ASUU would say we'll go on strike. Now, strikes are not the best response from ASUU to the government, but you discover that most labor unions in Nigeria tend towards strikes because that is the only way they can twist the government. That is the only way they can pressure the government. That is the only way they can embarrass the government enough to taking the needed action, and then you ask me what other style or action can they take beyond this? Communication. But where there is no communication, then there is frustration. Okay, you want to say something, but you're not given the listening ear. You think of whatever. I mean, even in the home front, your child wants to say something to you and you're not listening, you're not paying attention. The child would make all sorts of noise just to get you, paying the attention. Even if you're sleeping, the child would come, bang on your door and do everything. It's natural. So in Nigeria, the only formula that works is the strike action, especially prior to elections, because then they are campaigning, they want votes from the labor union, they want this, So getting on this at this time, okay, seems to be 1 year after the previous elections. And up till now, the government of the day seem to have settled down, as we assume in Nigeria. But unfortunately, education doesn't seem to be on the exclusive list or on the emergency list of government. A lot is going wrong. And if ASUU keeps quiet, probably approaching things the way they usually do, trying to write letters, trying to seek audience with the government, things would go still, things would go to waste.
Okay,
and then the
Dr.
blame will be
Kechi.
on all the university systems, the lecturers and all that. So I think strike actions seem to be the only language the government of the day understands, and that's why they use that approach.
All right, then, Dr. Kechi, thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's as much as we can ask you.
To start with, who is this guy said? Second, refer on Arise News. See, you listen to what this guy said. That is just the basic truth, the realities of that. You know, we don't be talking since. I wonder somebody with open eyes to tell me that Tinubu is doing well. Tinubu is meeting the demands of Nigerians. Tinubu Ashetima, I said, dedicate to steal, to destroy. They do not mean well for Nigerians. They are working for themselves. That is a basic truth. Tinubu, where is the law? They promised that for the school students' law. Where is it? The promises made for ASUU, where is it? The promises made to labor union, where is it? None of those things has been made, implemented. No, they are very good at making promises, but they are very bad when it comes to keeping those promises. They are very bad. They do not. So I wonder how somebody. I said something that day. I said, Tinubu, do you think they just come to like make everybody suffer? They do not know how to do it. They don't know what they are doing. Yeah, that's why you see they are doing try and error policy, and it's not going well with them. They are not meeting the demands of Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering. It has never happened before. And somebody will still come to say Tinubu is doing well. Meanwhile, it's not doing well. So where is the way forward? Labor union, they are still there. ASUU want to join on strike. Can you imagine? Tinubu said under his administration there will be no strike. Just 1 year. Labor ASUU want to go on strike. What happens after 3 years? Or within 3 years? What happened? Can you imagine? So these are just see, nobody should don't waste your time or telling me that they should keep reminding Tinubu what is going on, or they don't know what is. No, they know. Tinubu and his ministers, they know what is going on across Nigerians. The suffering people are going through. They don't have any idea what to do. They are lost, completely lost. People, when you carry cotton wood, block their ear. They know they hear because they are not there to work for Nigerians. They are there for themselves. Somebody will now come and be taking in the midst of millions of problems. I know I said it the other day. In the midst of millions of problems, all you could do is use 20 billion naira to renovate one person's house, 90 billion for pilgrimage to subsidize those who want to go to Saudi for prayers, 10 billion for office of what's it called? Another 5 billion office of the first lady. Another this, and they want to buy 2 private jets for president and the vice president in the midst of millions of problems. If you ask them, all they could say is there's no money, but they have money for all this. They are just wasteful. They have money for things that are not important, that are not matters to Nigerian people. You are giving out money to those who already had it. Meanwhile, the masses are going through a lot. They are suffering. People cannot afford 2 square meals per day. Even one is a problem for them. And you come to say you are here to work for the masses. You are asking us to tighten our bet. Meanwhile, you guys are not tightening your bet. No, it's becoming unbearable, this operation. So I don't know how. I don't just not understand. The thing they vex me, and somebody will come to say these people, no, they are deaf. They use cotton wool, broke their ears. Now it don't happen to all of them. Say this Tinubu, there's no hope. You don't understand. So nobody cares because nobody even their life. Nobody send anybody, and they're not sending you. Wait till you not send them. I don't care because nobody their life. If even according to Acapella will say he say we their life. Everybody for don't die. We are just living on your own. Tinubu and Shetima just come to suffer Nigeria unnecessarily in the name of they are working. They want to make this country great. For what? How? Is it how other countries are doing? Millions of people, millions of things going on in this country. It doesn't happen elsewhere except Nigeria. Except Nigeria, it doesn't happen elsewhere. But when you ask them, they say they are working. Wait, they are doing things that are not important. They are not relevant. Secondary, you leave the things that are things that matters. You leave them. You are doing secondary. Yeah, if you want to do them, do these things that are important. Make things accessible, affordable for your citizens to afford. Is it because we don't have food? But they are there. Where is the money to buy them? No. So there's problem. I continue to say, I don't talk and say. People will say, why are you talking like this? Now see, and I made the talking. See, where is it? Where is the progress? Where is the direction? Is this not hopelessness? Is this not hopelessness? Like they all said. Where is the way forward? Somebody will come in the midst of this now. Tinubu are still borrowing more money to do what? To give to those people who do not need it. My general overseer then, he will say if he wants to do wedding, nobody cares. You just want to give food to those people who are not hungry. Anything you do outside what is required from the family to do, if you do that, you are fine, you are okay with the family. But if you decided to call for elaborate a wedding party, you just want to give people who are not hungry food to eat, they will come and celebrate with you. This is what Tinubu are doing. Government, in and Wiki and those things, they are giving food, money to those people who already had it. They don't care about the millions of people unemployment or out of school children, hospital, healthcare sectors, all those areas that they could eat money. They don't care about those sectors. It doesn't matter to them. As far as their children, their family are okay, they are not facing the problem, it doesn't affect them. So they are left behind. It doesn't concern them. Now you know how you want to solve your problems. That's why you see they are doing this. And nobody is challenging them. So what do you think? Please get yourself ready, prepare. They are going to add more year to your year to finish your school. That is the basic truth. That is it. Other Tinubu, other Buhari, the same thing. Other Tinubu, they are going to add more year or months to the year you're supposed to graduate. That is the meaning of this protest that is coming now. Strike. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you get more updates from me. Please, I'll be your guy runner for me. Subscribe.